Welcome to the Daily Gospel of John. We're continuing in chapter 3 and taking another glimpse at these powerful verses 14 and 15, where Jesus is more plainly describing how to find eternal life to Nicodemus. And let's take a look again. Just as Moses lifted up the snake in the desert, so the Son of Man must be lifted up, that everyone who believes in him may have eternal life. Wow. So yesterday we mentioned how the Israelites had been bitten by poisonous snakes. It had to do with their sin and rebellion, and they were dying. And God told Moses, make a representative symbol of the snake on a pole and lift it up in the camp of the Israelites. And everyone who's dying, who's been bitten, that will look in faith to that snake on the pole, they will be healed. So it was a healing, their only hope. They were dying. There was no cure, no anti-venom. They had to look to this snake on the pole by faith, and that God would heal them, and He did. And so we look at the parallel and what Jesus is saying. Just as that snake, that filthy thing, was lifted up on that cross, on that pole, so the Son of Man, Son of God, must be lifted up on a pole, staked to a pole, basically, the cross, and become that object. He's that object of scorn and ridicule, who is the sin bearer, who would be the object of God's wrath then, this sinless one. And that, but here's the gist of what he's getting at. Just as those people had to look away from themselves and look to that stinking snake on the cross, on that pole, we have to look away from ourselves. We have all been bitten, so to speak, by sin, and sin inevitably leads to death, according to the Bible. So the bad news is all have sinned, and that the wages of sin is death, both on the human level of the consequences that sin brings in our lives on the temporal level, but also eternal and spiritual death are the consequence to sin. And we've all been bitten by this thing, this nasty, self-centered, self-seeking tendency in humanity. And so what is the cure? God has given us a cure. He's lifting up Messiah, Son of God, Son of Man, lifting him up on a cross and saying, if you will look away and look to him by faith, you will be healed. You will have eternal life. And that's our only hope. And it is kind of counterintuitive, because you can imagine if you've been bitten physically by some venomous snake and your arm's swelling up, you'd certainly probably be all focused and engaged in what's going on with your arm and trying to fix it. And that would be natural. And similarly, in the spiritual realm, we see a zillion self-help books on the shelves, and there's always something new. 10 steps to become a better this or a better that, or how to clean up your act in this way. And oh, here's this whole smorgasbord of religions, all these man-made step programs to work your way up to some God that you've chosen to believe in. And the God who is says, no, I've made one way. His name is Jesus Christ, the sin-bearer, Messiah, nailed on a cross, crying, Father, forgive them, bearing the wrath that we deserve. And God's only cure is you must look away from yourself. You can't fix yourself, and it's not until you look away that you will find yourself healed. Look away by faith. And that's why over and over we see in the scriptures, the way to eternal life is to put your trust, your faith alone in Jesus Christ, who was hanging on that cross, representing our sin, bearing the wrath we deserve. And by faith we look to him. And then we keep looking to him. Because when I look at self, if I'm having a good day, a good day in my own eyes, I start to, I think I'm doing pretty good. I'm getting along pretty good. I start to get proud, self-righteous. That's nasty. That's probably even worse than the blatant sin. The blatant sin is like that infection right on the surface. Pride and self-righteousness, it's the infection gone underground. It's that cancer eating away. And other people can notice it, but often we don't. So if I look within and I'm doing well, it's like, hey, I lose, so does everyone around me. If I look within and I think I'm just stinking and doing bad, guess what? I get depressed. And I and everyone around me loses. But if I look away, not only am I healed, but we begin to become like the object of our focus. And when I look upon King Jesus, mighty God, loving King, humble one, gentle, peacemaker, lover of my soul, I start to become like him. But it's tough to look away from self. It's so unnatural feeling. But it starts to get a little easier as we fall in love with King Jesus. Have a blessed day.